Welcome to the Scalpel of Truth, the podcast providing cutting insight on how to rise to the top in the medical aesthetics industry with your host, Leisa Krauss, aka the Bitch and Beautician. That's Leisa with an E, which stands for explicit, because in this surgical suite, she won't sugarcoat the truth, and yes, there will be some seriously salty language, not suitable for sensitive souls, children, nor pets. As a business consultant, Leisa shares the knowledge and lessons she's gleaned over 30 years in the industry. Time spent working directly with patients, managers, and med spa owners alike. Her practice growth strategies are sharp, her stories and wit sharper, and her panache for bringing the spice the sharpest. So buckle up, bichachos. Lisa's about to slice and dice another episode of The Scalpel of Truth.
All right, today's episode is called Beauty and the Bad Review. We're going to be discussing mastering the art of responding to shitty online reviews. So crafting a response to a bad online review requires a delicate balance of some professionalism, a little empathy, a touch of charm, some wit, if appropriate. We are going to talk about why responding to those not so glowing reviews is not just a good idea, it's actually an absolute must. Here's the legal part I need to read. This podcast is presented solely for educational entertainment purposes. Guys, I'm just your beauty business bitch. I'm not a licensed therapist or an HR representative, nor am I a lawyer. This platform's used to share my experiences with what's made me a successful service provider, a manager, and a business consultant for those who I coach. Got it? Beautiful. So joining me on today's episode, super excited, a good friend of mine, Christine, who is the owner of Gold Raven Studio. And Christine specializes in med spa websites and marketing and is a Story Brand certified guide. And Christine and I work together, and I've known Christine for, 2015, I guess we started working together. So lots of laughs between the two of us over the years, lots of sticky situations, lots of things that we planned together for events and different things like that. So welcome to Scalpel of Truth, Christine.
Thank you, Leisa. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so privileged to be on your podcast. Like, this is an honor, truly an honor.
Buddy, you are the best. So I'm really excited to chat about this because you did, when we worked together, a lot of that online reputation management and things like that. And I know that you do that for clients. So I am excited to talk about it. So we're going to jump into this. So with every review, whether it's good, bad, ugly, downright hilarious, basically it's like a plot twist in the saga of the med spa journey, right? So responding to these reviews, you're not just kind of clapping back, you're taking control of that narrative. So to me, there's really nothing says we've got our act together like professionalism in responding to a non-stellar review or an unsavory review. I know that there's a lot of importance around having a review that is great and responding to that, but we're going to get into this and talk a little bit about those who are really wanting to turn their reviews around. And then, we've done some work together for some folks that, what would you say?
That didn't give a shit. So this is the first problem. This is the first and foremost issue, is you have to actually care that you just got a scathing review. If you don't care, you are beyond help.
Well, and
kiss it goodbye. Yeah. Kiss it out the fucking window.
Yeah. Well, and we've got some great stats on why reviews are so important. Isn't it like 9 out of 10 people or something like that they'll look at, before they purchase something, before they go somewhere, whether it's a restaurant, they are looking for that third party validation.
95% of consumers go to reviews first.
Yeah.
And 91, this is astounding to me because this has changed since 10 years ago. 91% of 18 to 34-year-olds trust online reviews as much as they trust word of mouth referrals.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah. So you got to be on it.
Yeah, because people are trusting strangers.
Exactly. And at that...
No stranger danger.
Yeah. I know that you've done some homework and we've done some laughing and looking at some reviews online that are less than savory. And so I want you to read out a couple of the reviews and share them with the listeners. And then we can kind of do a deep dive on what a clinic should be doing in the response to this. And from what I gather, some of the ones that we looked at, there was no response. Like it was left out hanging in the wind.
None. Actually, yeah, there was actually one. I can't read, it's too long, but there was one response to a fairly lengthy bad review. And it was basically the manager deflecting and then turning it around back on to the patient, that they misunderstood the intentions and it was their fault that they interpreted the service to be that way.
Oh, so some gaslighting.
Absolutely. And then it was like at the end, well, we all have choices in life. And if you choose not to come back here, then I guess that's what your choice is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very welcoming.
If you're less than a what?
4.5 on the Google scale for star ratings.
Yeah.
You have a lot of work to do. Your goal is to be 5.0 stars. If you're 3.9 or close to 4, that's not good enough. You won't even get on the first 20 pages of search results, and you'll never get on the Google My Business.
Like your cheerleader board.
Yeah, no, you'll never get on there, ever.
Wow. Well, and so many people are cautious of and conscious of our reviews. Like we're so involved in asking for those reviews. A lot of clinics, there's a lot that don't, but it's really important to get that feedback because that's a heavy weight on where people choose to come see you or if they don't come see you.
Absolutely. I just got distracted because I just read a review that I'm going to share.
Oh, good. I love this. I love this.
So this was a review that was from within this past year. And it says, I've gone to this place 4 times and I've had a bad experience every time. This is a great start. The technicians are uneducated and don't provide proper information and then blame you when you inform them that you did not receive the information. So there's just some more gaslighting and deflecting. Yeah. I just love how this place is full of gaslighters.
Amazing.
And then the last sentence says, we'll never go back.
Yeah, and there
amazing.
Was no reply to that review. Is that right?
No reply, but somebody liked it.
Well, so someone also thought that was the shits.
Somebody else had the same experience.
Well, and I think if it tells a lot from reviews. It tells us that, okay, we need to do some training because apparently this patient, and if we look at the lifetime value of a patient, that is crazy that we're getting those kind of reviews. And another reason why education for your team is really imperative, because if they come off like a bunch of dipshits, you're going to get bad reviews. People aren't going to, that's a trust factor. That is the surefire way to send them in a bus down the street to your competitor.
Especially your front desk.
Yeah, front desk.
If those girls / guys are rude,
yeah,
you might as well lock the doors.
Yeah. Well, and you're paying so much for patient acquisition, your marketing, your advertising, the amount of dollars that are going out the door to get people in the door for your front reception, for that first impression to be shitty. Do we have another craptastic review?
We have got a lot of craptastic reviews for this particular clinic. Here's one by a long-standing patient of this doctor, who has been going to him for a very long time. And she says, I've been seeing Dr. So-and-so since childhood, and I would no longer recommend this clinic for anyone considering laser treatments. As a client paying hundreds of dollars per session for a cosmetic treatment, the patient care before, during, and after my treatment was horrible. The technician was not considerate of pain whatsoever, even after vocalizing and being visibly in distress so much that I was pulling away. I left feeling completely traumatized by my experience despite the website indicating experience is number one priority.
Wow.
Okay, so this girl was a long-term patient since childhood,
Wow.
and now you lost her.
Well, and that's one way to really get bad word of mouth. If she's willing to go on and spend the time to do a Google review, you bet your sweet ass that she's telling anybody close to her about the encounter that she had.
She's telling 800 people.
Yeah. Like anybody who will listen.
And this one got 8 likes. So I'm guessing.
Right? It got 2 stars, but it got 86
likes.
likes. Yeah. Exactly.
The bad review got tons of likes. Perfect.
Yeah. More likes than your med spa.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, this is not good at all. And I know that there are lots of clinics like this. And I also know that the people that work in these clinics don't give a shit.
Yeah. The owners need to give a shit. Everybody needs to. If you've got staff that you've brought in, and for me, when I was in management, if you're looking at this, you need to share these reviews with your team because it's a team effort and you need to get to the bottom of it. So not only do you need to respond to these reviews, I would try and look the patient up in your database. I would give them a call. I would ask them to come in. I would do anything that you can do for damage control and find out where things went wrong. Because not only do you just respond to try and, put a Band-Aid on things, you've got to hold people accountable that are tarnishing your name or doing, shit service or whatever to not get people to walk through your door.
Well, and you have to be accountable to those people.
Yeah.
And not gaslight them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you get a bad review or a good review, any review, you must respond to every single review. The bad reviews, however, are the diamonds in the rough. It is imperative that you deal with that in public on the review board with grace and professionalism, absolutely, and make sure that you are doing everything you can to repair the damage.
Yeah.
Because then when people actually come on to read the review, as we've found out, 95% of the population, they're going to see that you did your damnedest to turn this around.
Yeah.
And to rectify the situation.
Yeah.
And once they see that, they're going to go, oh, okay, well, they tried to figure this out. And then there's also many times that when you make that effort, the person who left the shitty review will actually take it down without you even asking.
Which is the best case scenario, right? I know that there's another thing that's happening too, that in response to this is when you are at a clinic, and this has happened to me in clinic as well, is you look up that shitty review and you look up that patient and you find that you can't find them anywhere. That name associated is not anywhere in your database. And so I know a lot of places will reply, please, we can't find you in our database that you've ever even come to our med spa. We want to make this right, but right now it doesn't even look like you're a patient. And so calling that out, because there is, people are low, people can really be lowball here in our industry. And you've got jealous competitors leaving shitty reviews or fake reviews to try and tarnish someone's reputation, which I think is like super sinister and super awful, but it is happening. So I think not responding, well, they're not a patient here, and leaving it, I think it's better to say, we looked you up. You're not a patient here. We want to rectify this. Please get in touch with us as soon as possible. And at least it's showing that you've, tried to do something, or it's showing that it could be a fake review. Because if I read that and the people were like, we looked you up and you aren't a patient here, how can we help? How can we fix this? Then it leads me to believe that review is not an honest, actual review. Let's talk about the importance of paying attention to these, both positive and negative. I mean, we've already determined that it directly relates to your reputation management and your, not even online, but your reputation in general. It's like, oh, these people are saying, and where there's smoke, there's fire. If you've got more than one or two, like the facility that we were discussing, like
they have a 3.5 Google review.
Yeah. Like this is bad news.
Bad
So
news.
the impact that it can have on your reputation is you might eventually have to close your doors. If that is a repetitive trend that's happening on your reviews, your business and your bottom line are absolutely going to be affected. No doubt. No doubt.
They go hand in hand. If you don't care that you're getting shitty reviews, then obviously you don't care that you're giving shitty service.
Right.
So I think it's just like, you just don't care. You're not in it for patient care or patient experience. And that trickles down to all of your staff, your managers, and everybody's apathetic and nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah. Well, and then it's just a matter of time. Then you've got toxic clinic culture. You've got a whole bunch of stuff happening. So
guaranteed shitty reviews, I'm not going to say 100% guaranteed, but I'm going to say 99.9% guaranteed. Clinic culture is in the toilet if a clinic is getting this many bad reviews.
Yeah. So how can we encourage satisfied customers to leave a positive review to counterbalance some of that negative feedback?
Okay, so the simplest form of getting a review, the simplest way is to ask for it. I know
that was a lot.
I know this is a huge revelation.
I was waiting for something
groundbreaking,
yes.
and like for the earth to shatter, and
yes.
you know, for magic dust to be swirling around and wizardry happen. No, you ask for it. That's the bottom line. And I know people are quite shy about asking. Service providers can be shy about asking for reviews. It's awkward to people, just like asking for a sale. They don't want to ask for a review because they think, well, then, they feel like they're pushy.
Right. Can I tell you how I would deal with this?
Yeah.
So if I had a patient and P.S., the amount of times I had happy patients back in the day and didn't ask for a review is terrible. But the amount of happy patients I had in seeing over 30,000 patients in my lifetime of being in clinic would have been great to get reviews, because
let's be honest, Leisa, there were no Google reviews when you were
the dinosaurs roamed the land.
No, Google.
Google didn't exist.
Google did not exist.
Let's be honest.
When you were a practitioner.
Granny. Yeah, exactly. So how I would deal with this, thanks, a-hole. How I would deal with this is I would say, Christine, I am so excited that you have had such great results with us and that you are delighted with how your experience has been here. May I be so bold as to ask you for a review?
Yes, let me get out my chisel and stone.
Exactly. The chisel and stone to leave me that review. Thank you. Thank you so much. But for real, I feel like I did all right there.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
I did okay there.
You
like
did,
you can say, may I be so bold as to ask?
You know what?
It's vulnerable.
Yeah. If somebody asks me for a review and I know that I've received great service no matter what, or a great product, I am more than happy to give them a good review. It's just that I don't make it a habit of just going to review all the good experiences I have, because life is busy and you get into your truck or your car and you drive away and you kind of forget about it. But you are, and there are so many times when I go, I am so going to go and leave a review.
Yeah.
And the minute I get into my truck, I forget about it.
Well, and you want to make it easy for people to do a patient survey after. Send them a text message, anything to prompt them to do it.
With a link right to your review page.
Yes, you got to make it easy for people.
Yes, and also on the counter, like on the front desk, in a little holder with a QR code right to your Google review page.
Yes.
Perfect. But you still just because it's sitting there doesn't mean they're going to do it. And this isn't one thing that that Story Brand teaches us, is people will not do what you want them to do unless you ask them to.
Yeah.
So
you got to be clear.
Just because the sign is there on the front counter doesn't mean they're going to do it. You still have to ask for the review.
Well, and I think if you've done a great job and you've done the relationship development and that patient is somebody that you care about, they're going to care about you in return. And if you've done a great job, they shouldn't have a problem giving you a good review. Like we make it out to be this big, scary thing. But if you have confidence around what you're doing, it shouldn't be scary at all. The only time I'd be scared is if I burnt somebody or didn't do a good job and I was fucking up. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, also, could you give me a good review? Yeah. Like not in a million years. Dude, I wouldn't even give you the finger right now, let alone a review.
But you deal with that poor burnt patient right then, so they don't hop on and give you a bad review.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
You don't leave that sucker to smolder, right? And get mad, because what happens is if you don't that's where you got to do your follow-up. So you've got to do your follow-ups in your patient care aspect, but you also need to follow up on your online reviews. And that's why this is so important.
And it is more important to respond. Well, it's, like I said, important to respond to every single review, but the gem is in the bad review.
Yeah. It shows your character.
That is where you turn things around.
Yeah.
And make yourself look like rainbows and puppy dogs.
Yeah. Well, and then you're rave worthy. Mm-hmm. You look and you say, oh my gosh, this is how they handled this. Because there are going to be people that, the people that usually give a bad online review are people who are pissed enough to let other people know and warn other people, right? So they feel a sense of...
And bad reviews are... Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah.
Bad reviews are room for improvement. That is how you improve on your staff, your culture, your service providers, your services. Whatever the complaint is, that is where you need to improve. So you need to take that seriously and use it as a stepping stone to getting better.
Yeah. Just be better.
Yeah. A great book. And I read this 100 years ago,
when the dinosaurs roamed the land and I was still seeing I was being a service provider and still seeing laser patients.
I think, 100 years ago, maybe you were a hairdresser back then.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I read this book called Hug Your Haters.
Ah, yes.
And it's a really great read. I don't know who it's by, but Google it, grab it on Audible, or am I allowed to say that?
I think so. I don't know.
Grab it on Audible or Amazon or whatever. And it's a really great read. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So,
and great tips.
Great tips. Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. This has been so fun. And honestly, Christine, thank you so much for joining me on this episode on exploring the importance of responding to bad online reviews and offering some valuable insights for our listeners.
I'm so happy to be here. And I think that I want to be back on the show.
I love it. I think that we should just read shitty reviews and comment on them. I think that, we could that could be a thing for us.
Yes.
Is just reading shitty med spa reviews
or just
for entertainment.
Yeah, just being entertaining about the shitty side of med spas.
Yeah.
One day I'll come back, guys.
Yeah. Love it.
Thanks, Lise.
Always.
You're the best.
You are. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I invite you to share this podcast with your team and colleagues. To get in touch with me, you can visit my website, vanityempireconsulting.com. And to find me on Instagram and to find the show on Instagram, it's @TheBitchAndBeautician and @Scalpel of Truth Podcast. Wishing you so much love and success. And until next time, I want you to stay sharp, stay focused, and stay fabulous.
Don't want to wait to see things stay the way they are.